What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Of course, this is TWA Motorsports, and today, yes, we are doing a little bit of work on the 52. We're gonna talk about that in just a second, but before we get into that, guys, the website is live now, so TWAmotorsports.com. And so here's what we've got. We've got some different stuff. We've got like key tags, we've got hats, we've got this shirt, which I'm hoping is listed by the time this video goes live. But guys, go check it out, make sure and pick up some merch. Okay, that's my plug. Anyway, let's take a look at the 52. Let's talk about what's going on with it. It's been back here in the corner for a long time. And guys, look, it's starting to warm up. It's getting that season to where you go to cruise-ins and whatnot. And this is a staple for this house. This is the longest standing vehicle that I have ever owned in my entire life. Had it for going on about 12 years now. And so look, guys, it's never going to leave. I have no desire to sell it, and I love looking at it. And I was looking at it the other day, and I'm like, man, this poor thing, it has went behind every single thing else in the shop. So we obviously did a motor swap, paint, the whole shebang on this, and I just actually got through washing it. That's why it's looking so clean. We've got that partially tore apart. We've got the bed over here for it. We've got the Trans Am. The poor Trans Am's been apart forever. And then we got the 55. So guys, look, I have no desire to yank this thing apart right now to do the LS swap, because ultimately what happens is I get really in depth and I want to do things a certain way. That's why it takes me so long to do this stuff that you're seeing torn apart, is because I just can't put an old, nasty, leaking motor out of a salvage yard, 5.3 or 6 liter, whatever, into a vehicle. I can't do it. I have to put new gaskets in it. I have to, while I'm there, I'm gonna redo the brake lines. I'm gonna redo the fuel lines. So anyway, here's what's going on with the 52. It actually had a radiator leak, and I swore to myself that, look, I'm not gonna fix any more stuff on this, right? When something breaks, I'm gonna LS swap it. But here's the deal. The stuff that's happening is little stuff. And so a while back, and it's been probably a year or more ago, I had a fuel pump fail. Put a new pump on it. They're like 20 bucks. It's a mechanical pump, old school 305 is what this thing has in it. And then I had a radiator leak. Well, I sealed that up with some like JB Weld, I guess, radiator fix. It seems to be holding up. Well, then I had my fan switch went bad. So then I wired my fan to be on all the time. Well, then this last time, so I drove this thing it's probably been 4 or 5 months ago now. Started to head to work, and I noticed that all the lights looked really dim. Well, by the time I got another half mile, it had died and would not start back. And so here's where we're at now. I'm pretty sure it's either the battery, a wire, or the alternator. So all of which are relatively cheap, right? So under $200. And to me, it's like worth fixing something little like that. So we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna see, guys, this is gonna be absolutely disgusting under the hood. If I can find my latch. It's been a minute since I've actually driven this truck. Where are you at? That's pretty bad when you got to look under here, guys. That's how long it's been. So I'm gonna have to have 2 hands to get this accomplished. Yeah, I'm gonna have to have 2 hands. We'll get it open, take a look at what's going on. The alternator's right up top, so it shouldn't be hard. But what I'm thinking I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna pull the battery out, because I noticed that it was sparking really bad when I hooked like my cables to it. So I'm wondering if my battery, it's pretty old. I'm wondering if it has finally gave up on me, and that could be our whole issue. We may not have to take the alternator off. So let's get this open so you guys can see what's going on under here, and then we'll look at where the battery's located. So you can see what I'm talking about. It's disgusting down here, guys, but look, there's our alternator right there. And so here's what I'm thinking. I'm really, really thinking it's a wiring thing. There's not a ton of wiring here. It makes me wonder if one of these guys has grounded out just from years of driving. So the battery on this, you can see we can get the alternator off relatively easy. I don't really think that's the problem, though. It looks like a pretty new alternator, actually. But the battery does have a date on it of 2020. So what's that? Well, it's only 3 years old. That's not too bad, but you can see, like, this guy normally covers it. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna unhook this thing. I don't love the way it's mounted. I really don't. I'm gonna get a couple wrenches. There's actually not a holder on the top. It looks like it's zip tied in. I don't remember doing that. But either way, let's get a couple 8mm, it looks like, get this thing unhooked and see. The other thing is I hooked my battery tender up to it, and it started flashing like it couldn't charge. So let's just get this thing out of here. Let's clip those zip ties off, pull this thing out, and see if we can hook it up to our battery tender over there and see if it maybe charges outside of the truck. After a small fight, you can see what I'm talking about. I just need that rail that runs across the top. I actually think I have one of those, guys. But yeah, we got it out of there, zip ties and all. I don't know. I don't remember doing this, but that's in the time that I've owned it. So I may have just done that temporarily and just never went back and fixed it. This is what I'm talking about, guys. I get to the point where it's like, I gotta do more. You know, I gotta do more stuff. But let's go over here. I've got the battery tender over here hooked up. Let's hook it up and see if it flashes like it did before. All right. Let's see what happens here. Got our positive, got our negative. See this? See what it does there? I think this battery's bad. It's freaking out, and that's what it did. It won't charge. It's like the battery's grounding out on the inside. So I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this to my local parts store because they have the ability to test it and see exactly, maybe this is our issue the whole time. Just got back from the parts store, and sure enough, it has a bad cell. So I'm going to order a different one. They didn't have one, which is fine. I don't have to have theirs, but I did get this, which is better than what was in it, which was a bunch of washers. I'm assuming I replaced this battery at one point, guys, but I just used what was connected to it. It's probably in a hurry, wanted to drive it or something, but either way, we're gonna get a new battery and to go along with this guy, because it does have stereo, so this is nice because this screws out. So we'll put this back in when we go together, but let's get a new battery. I may go to an AGM style instead of this older style, and I'm definitely gonna try to stay away from this brand unless I can get this one warrantied out, and then we'll go back with this. Got a new battery sitting right there. So here's what I'm thinking. I need to make a plate to hold the top of this. So obviously we can't, I'm not gonna put it together with zip ties again. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna cut this down to make it fit in here and use that as basically the top mounting plate for this. It's pretty thick steel. I'm gonna paint it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use my grinder, cut it. I know that it's 10.5 inches between center to center of those bolt holes. So obviously I have to drill some holes in it. I'll probably offset them a little so this is more towards the center. But let me cut this real quick and we'll go from there. I've got the bracket made now, and I'll show you guys that here in a minute. I've got it outside, I painted it just because all I had to do was cut the end off and drill a couple holes in. But let's see if we can get this thing set into place. I just got it warrantied out actually from my local parts store. It's a 75 group battery, not very big. I really wanted to go with something different, but this is all they had, and it warrantied out. But I am going to use this guy this time, as opposed to, there was literally a stack of washers. You guys can see it sitting here. I don't know, like I said, I don't remember doing that, but that doesn't mean I didn't. So I may have been in a hurry to drive it. There is a stereo in this, so I've got this piece that screws off the top. We can put the main power on down there, and then the stereo wire. Got the battery in, got it hooked up. Let's give it a shot. I'm gonna go to the other side. We're gonna try to start it and see what happens. I don't know, guys. We'll find out real quick whether it's a possibly a ground issue. Hopefully not. Give it a couple pumps here. That's a good sign. Hadn't been started in a while. Woohoo! Let's see if our voltage. We got 12 volts. I don't know how accurate that is. We'll keep our eye on this, but we got that in place. I'll show you guys. I'm letting that bracket dry. Got to find some bolts to put on that, but the next thing I think I want to do is I'm going to coat this thing in some of the sweet patina sauce. You guys, I don't know if you watched the video a while back, but we put some on the 54 back when we had it, and I did a fender on this, but I want to try to do the whole thing, and we'll take a look and see, you know, kind of what it looks like on flat black. I think it'll darken things up, but that's it for now until we get the bracket ready, and then I'll show you guys that. So we moved some stuff around here, as you can see, but check it out. This is my bracket that I made. I just drilled 2 holes 10.5 inches apart. I couldn't find anything that mounted the battery this way. Most of them go the other way. So I'm gonna slide this thing on there, put some bolts or some nuts on the top of those 2 things on the side, And then we'll move on to the sweet patina sauce. We'll knock some of the dust off. I'm not gonna wash it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna wipe all the dust off and we're gonna go from there. Now that is not going anywhere. Not bad. Little fabrication stuff, guys. All right, we're good. No movement on the battery. Perfect. So I'm gonna put my plate back in, then we'll get to the sweet patina. I thought a good place to start with this sweet patina sauce would be on the hood. And look, this stuff's super flammable. And I like to wear gloves. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but we're just gonna see what happens. We'll try to do half the hood here, and then we'll, go from there. But the last vehicle I used this stuff on, it's been a minute, hopefully it doesn't go bad, was the 54. And I did a video on that, guys, and I love it. I think it looks awesome. It adds this kind of fresh matte look to this. I mean, look at it. Tell me that doesn't look better. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna coat this, and I don't think it's gonna take me really that long to do the entire truck. I will tell you that on my 54, because the thing was so rough, it took me quite a while. And I think mainly because it was so rough. It was like putting this on a piece of sandpaper, if you can imagine. It'll be a little harder around the emblems and stuff. I have to like goop it in here on the emblems. I can tell you one thing, we're gonna have to do the entire truck because it's gonna look really dumb if we just did part of it. But I'll try to break it up half and half here. I'm interested to see. We're supposed to let it set for about 20 minutes and then kind of buff it off with another towel. So we'll grab another towel here in a second. I'm just gonna keep going. You guys will just have to listen to me talk, sorry. Probably gonna get my little rolly chair to do the sides. Man, I'm telling you, it's taken way less than it took to do my 54. Sure spreading a lot easier. So as you can tell, I've got the entire truck done. Did it, and well, you guys saw how quick this went. Maybe 20 minutes to do the entire truck. You know, I did the inside of the bed. You could see where I couldn't get. I could undo these. I've got them bolted shut. I could undo that and get the whole tailgate, but I'm not really that concerned with that because I just want, man, I like the sheen that it has right now. But look, this is not the way it's going to look. Obviously, there's a huge difference, you know, from side to side. One thing I'll tell you guys about this flat black, I think it's like hot rod black. It streaks if you try to power wash it. So I have actually in the past, I'm gonna set you back on the tripod here, it may be a little noisy. In the past, I have used a Scotch-Brite to kind of dull it back up because it'll stripe it and it looks terrible. And so I've washed it with like a garden hose and a Scotch-Brite. But here's what we're gonna do. We're going to grab just a clean towel and we're going to lightly buff this off. It's been at least 20 minutes. That's about how long you're supposed to leave it. We're gonna have to go back and go over the glass. Obviously we got, you know, a little bit on the glass. No way to get around that. But this will give you a good side-by-side comparison with what it looks like, you know, kind of before and after. And you could leave it like this, guys. You don't have to buff this off. I just don't like the greasy look. It looks really greasy right now. I want it to have more of that sheen. Like this was just done. You know, the problem with flat black is there's nothing protecting it. So out in the sun and everywhere else, it, you know, kind of bakes up and starts to dull up. I'm totally digging this though. I may have to use a couple of these microfibers. I don't know how full this is gonna get. I like it. You can definitely see the scratches and that I've put in it over the years with the Scotch-Brite, but look at the difference from right to left. Okay, it's killing me. I'm gonna have to do this other side real quick and I'm gonna buff it all back off and we'll take a look at it. It has definitely darkened it up. I mean, it was pretty obvious before, but look guys, there's some streakiness that you can see. I don't know if you guys can see these, like probably high spots. So here's what I did. I used a new microfiber towel, obviously not the one that we were putting it on with, but I used a new one, wipe it all down like you guys saw me start. Went around the whole truck, was still kind of streaky, so I got another new microfiber towel, went over it one more time. I still think I may put another coat on. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna drive this thing to work tomorrow, hopefully. I got the battery on the charger just to top it off after putting the new one in. But I'm gonna attempt to drive it to work tomorrow. Hopefully it doesn't lay down on me. If it does, I will try to cut in with my phone. I generally don't take this camera with me. But if it does and I have to tow the thing home, which has happened, I will let you guys know in this video. But if not, I think tomorrow evening, I'm gonna put another coat of that on and then have maybe 4 or 5 towels to wipe it down with this time. But I'm loving the look of it. I know the camera from right here looks, and it does from right here, it looks really, really good. Definitely darken it up. I like this look a lot better. So anyway, we will cut back in tomorrow and with the second coat. This is the second coat. And so, yeah, I just think it probably could have used 2 coats. Now, had a ton of help. You can see we got a whole mess of stuff going on out here. Yeah. We had 2 extra coaters. And anyway, so it's coated. We're gonna wipe it down again. You can see, guys, if you get it on the windows, man, this makes a streaky mess, but we'll clean that off later. I'm just concerned with getting it coated. I try not to get it on the chrome. I try not to get it on the polished stuff, but inevitably you're gonna get it on that stuff. It's not a big deal, but it will smear. So here's what I'll do. We're gonna let it set for probably another 10, 15 minutes, and then we're gonna buff it off. Are you helping, Cam? Are you gonna help buff it off there?
Yeah.
You sure? Where are your gloves?
They're over there. I took them off.
Okay. All right, there you have it. 10 minutes. We're gonna knock this off and we will be finished. Second coat, now complete. I really like the look of it. Here's the problem. I took it out between coats, right? I took it to work Didn't have any issues. The car ran fine, but man, there's a ton of pollen out right now, just that time of year, and a lot of pollen stuck to it. I think it's going to be a little better now that it's going to be in the garage and let it kind of settle for a little bit before I take it out. Like I took it out the next day. So I really like it. Now, I will tell you guys on flat black, it's a little harder to get the streaks off. Like we went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 towels, I believe. And of course I had help, you know, there's 2 other people using towels, but even just wiping it down, you kind of got to wipe it down. And then once you kind of soak that rag up, then you're using a new rag to wipe down again. So there's still some streaks here and there. You can kind of see them on the top, but ultimately I love the look of it. We are back in business. The thing is running. All it was is a battery. Can you believe that? Out of all the dumb things I let this truck set for, it was just a battery. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please, like always, smash that thumbs up button. Guys, if you are not subscribed, go down there, hit the subscribe button. Of course, ring that bell notification. That notifies you every time we drop a new video, and stay tuned to see what we work on next.